It is 6 o'clock. I will call this meeting of the Juneau Utility Commission to order. The roll has been taken. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Ross, second by Bart to approve the agenda. Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes of the previous meetings.
So moved.
Need a second? Motion by Dave, second by Dick. Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public appearances, let the record state no one is here. Monthly business, approve the vouchers and the checks. Motion by Bart,
Second.
second by Dave. Any questions at all? Or if not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Prior month income statements. Any questions or concerns? If not, moving on. Council acts affecting the utility, there are none. Consumption and loss.
How come the closer we get to having all the sewer pipes replaced, our average keeps going up? Would it go down? Or is there miscalculation in water use, like the fire department
Right.
running hydrants?
So, the only thing I'm after is, I wanna look into making sure that that sensitive flow meter's working right. 'Cause that's the only thing that would count for that percentage. 'Cause, yeah. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, so don't you think you could be clicking down the other way?
I mean, Pam found a few water meters that weren't working last month. It's certainly not 20%. We'll just keep televising and looking for where it's coming in otherwise. That's what you're right. Yeah, it's,
The truck was out there last few days.
Any other questions, concerns? Review totals of delinquent customers. Anybody have any? Do you have anybody that's still shut off?
Yeah, there is 7 meters total. That's not just from this year. There's only 2 from this year, I believe. Sounds about right, right?
I think so. That's true. There's nobody living there?
Right. Yeah, we did an audit on what meters we have shut off, activated or active but disconnected, and everything's kosher, so. We have 7 out, 2 are from this year.
Okay. Okay. Reports of officials, utility account. Sorry.
We had put to this meeting discussing the Children's Miracle Network donation again, if we wanted to do that, but we also, Nick and I talked to Eric from WPPI the other day about our contributions that we have available, and for the crosswalk signals, we have $2,000 for community contributions that we can use towards that. That's available for this year. So if you guys wanna earmark that right away, even though it's not getting done quite yet.
Nick brought us up to speed last month about the cost of decorative lighting versus the standard lighting that we have in downtown. I think that's an appropriate use for those funds if you want to keep it in town. I mean, as far as spending the difference on kind of a in the back door, out the front door type thing, but
It's either gonna be crosswalks or the street lighting. I mean, whatever you guys want. I mean, the street lighting is only gonna cover basically one pole, I think. So, I guess it doesn't really matter much.
I thought the crosswalk things were like close to $10,000 per corner. Does that sound right, Dan?
geez, I'm trying to
I
remember.
thought we had 20.
He was talking about a grant for them things that, I
Is
don't
he
know if
still?
I don't know if he's secured anything yet or whatever. Or was that just the cost of getting them installed and wired?
No, it was, whatever now. Cause I was looking at the wiring schemes for it not too long ago, so Dave sent me everything.
There isn't really that much.
Total cost. According to this sales quote is $9,188, so I don't know if that's just one crosswalk, so that'd be twice as much. It's showing quantity 2.
Would these be able to be tied onto our street lighting circuit?
No, these are just gonna have a solar and a battery. It's gonna have a battery in the base,
Okay.
which works out good, because we really don't have means to get power to the far side.
That's what I,
So that's, because that's one thing I was concerned about, that's why I had them send me over, but no, this is gonna have a battery in the base. and it's
these
got
aren't
solar.
center line?
What's that?
These aren't center line mounted?
No, they're, if you guys have gone by the Walgreens in Beaver Dam, there's those crosswalks right there just to the west of the Walgreens. They're the exact same ones as those. They're like the pedestal post, I should say not pedestal, post mount, standalone. It's on its own foundation. But
In the boulevard?
It'd be in the boulevard.
Really? I don't think those would be as effective as having them on center line. I don't know, I suppose we can still have those markers on center line.
Yeah, I think if you have markers on the center line, and then it's gonna be altering sides, so the one's gonna have the push button on one side, and it's just gonna be the post mount. It's kinda hard to describe, but it's gonna be on each crosswalk, go up those guards, so
And
both
each
sides.
boulevard.
Each boulevard, yeah. They didn't take up much room. The ones in Beaver Dam are on an 18-inch sonotube, but it's, you got an 18-inch sonotube with that. So I don't think you would have to do that.
Yeah, you might be right, Richard. I don't know if that was total cost or if that was time two.
That's times 2. I mean, no, time
It'd be I think we set aside 20,000 for that.
So it must be this 9,200
Times
twice.
two.
So 18.5. And they're both good causes, but, you know, goes both back to the community that way.
I think we had talked last month about the utility would make up the difference as far as the contribution of whatever the city had. However, the funding works for the crosswalks, that if they needed more, that we would use that $2,000 towards that to make up the difference if it is higher.
I wonder if we could do like a blanket, or it's either crosswalk or street lighting, whatever.
Just earmark the funds.
Right.
I have no problem with that from the city and things. I just like to see the funds geared towards something utility related, you know, associated with utility, and most likely keeping the dollars in our community. It's our utility and WPPI that's funding it, so it's the dollars that our utility users spend every month that goes towards this contribution. So
Crosswalks for sure.
Yeah. My understanding.
I think the light poles are good, but I think the crosswalk is gonna keep our kids safe.
I would lean more toward public safety rather than,
Yeah.
Beautification, I mean, the other's beautification, but
I guess the way the mayor was talking there, we could earmark it for the crosswalk, and if it's not needed for the crosswalk, then we put it towards the light poles.
What's the crosswalks been budgeted for already, isn't Peter was paying all that?
No, I mean,
No, if
that
it's-
budget would go
if it
back
goes
into
over
the
budget.
general.
It's just utility paying the city.
Yeah, but their general budget doesn't, that's not good utility. Stuff always breaks down. I would earmark it for both in case he does get grant money for it, but precedence on the crosswalk, maybe.
No, I would make a motion that we put the money towards the crosswalk, and if it turns out he gets grants and it's not needed, then it would go toward the light poles. I'll make that motion.
do we have a second to that effect?
I'll second it.
Did you catch that, Lori?
I certainly did.
All right. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, the other item I have is we received a letter from Landmark that I included in your packets, stating that whoever, this Raymond James and Associates, had been the business that was securing our deposits. I'm not sure how that all works. So,
It would be them instead of, it wouldn't be the FDIC, but it would be the whoever.
the National Credit Union
Yeah,
Association.
they would back their,
Right.
so our funds technically are still insured even.
Only to $250,000. The Raymond and Associates, Raymond James, they must have something else that they collateralize it or something with securities. So right now, we've got just over $3 million in our accounts there. And if something would happen after April 1st, it would only be insured for $250,000.
So is it gonna be collateralized or whatever at Farmers and Merchants?
Yes, according to what Megan found out, she had emailed, because that's where the city has their money,
Okay.
and so she double checked with that, and it sounds like that's still all good and secure.
The city has their money there, I don't really see a problem.
Where'd you see this $250,000?
That would be the NC, whatever, the The credit union,
The NUs.
yeah, the credit union version of FDIC
Yeah,
would do this 250,000 and then beyond that,
yeah.
it's,
They gotta really be shooting themselves in the foot by doing this sort of thing.
You would think. That's my first thought.
well, it could
Especially
be them
if-
not doing it, could be the people that are doing the securities that are,
Right.
the people that are doing the securities that are backing them have decided not to do it anymore, is what it sounds like,
Right.
Think you'd find somebody else?
you would think.
So that means all of the city funds are gonna be leaving Landmark?
Yeah,
Or not even? in-
yeah, I think it's on the, agenda for tomorrow, is finance tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it then, get educated about it then. Hope everybody's got the right answer though.
So I just need to, we need to have that approved tonight to have that go forward with tomorrow's meeting, and then it has to go to council, and we have to have it done by April 1st.
I just always hate putting all our eggs in one basket, you know?
Yeah, that was gonna be my next comment is,
Well,
is
then
it worth
maybe,
it? Is it
maybe
worth
we
it
should
for
be
them?
looking at more than just farmers and merchants.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way. This
Well, we
is,
could
this is
al-
a short-term solution, but a long-term
Right.
solution would be maybe we need to figure out where.
We can always do farmers and merchants now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right,
saying.
and look at Horicon
Or
and,
a bank or something.
Cause I think we do have the lion's share, because we're doing payroll and everything through farmers and merchants, but, yeah, I think we got the lion's share in there already, but it's still like being a little more diversified and having another.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to have somebody make a motion, moving forward on that.
I will make the motion to move forward on that.
Go second.
And Ross is seconding. Is there any discussion on that? If not, is there any discussion? As long as there's no more discussion, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We will look at other lending institutions also.
Yes.
You have anything else, Lori?
We got an email from Eric at WPPI that he was looking into the Dodge County Community Development webpage, and he came across a housing rehabilitation program, and he didn't know how much we knew about it or whatever, but it looks like they do a 0% interest deferred payment plan, a loan that residents can get to do repairs for handicap accessibility, repairing windows or replacing windows and doors, roofing, electrical upgrades, connecting water and sewer lines, siding and porch repairs, or repairing and replacing heating systems, water heaters, and plumbing systems. So he just thought that that was something that he wanted to point out to us in case somebody needs a new furnace or whatever, and they're kind of short on funds. I don't know if you guys want to have us try to promote that a little bit through any bill inserts or an email that we can send out to residents, letting them know that there's that program available.
Where is that ran through?
Dodge County Community Development.
We should, we've, the last two projects have shown that we have several areas that are, would fall into that category.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, doesn't hurt.
No.
Right. Okay.
I
I'll
guess.
I'll get more information on it, and we'll come up with a brochure or whatever, and I'll run it by you guys.
There used to be meetings with Dodge County on the Juneau and anything.
Be nice if you could send that, I'll email that information to us too, Lori.
Okay.
Yeah, this doesn't have nothing to do with the housing authority or anything like that. This is a whole different,
Anything else, Lori?
No, I think that was all I had.
Your audit is progressing well,
It's progressing.
okay?
We're almost done with inventory. And plant assets, so those are the two biggies that you have to balance and have a lot of schedules and stuff that go with it, so once that stuff is done, then it's kind of downhill from there easily.
Okay.
But we're on track.
Anybody have any questions for Lori? If not, Nick?
Attended the MUW conference and expo. We got supply chain updates, EV vehicle updates. Again, it's kind of a reoccurring speeches and updates. Nothing really has changed. The only thing that's concerning to me for the city of Juneau and the electric system is we're a 2400 volt system. I kind of spoke about this last time. If and when that EV does grow, that's when we will have to change to 7200 volt system. They developed a system through transformer loading, and Cedarburg Utilities was the test pilot for this program, where they take each transformer and link them to the meters on the houses, and they have both 7200 volt system and a 2400 volt system. The 2400 volt system failed with 50% of customers being EV vehicle. Actually, it was less than that. It was like 35% of the customers being EV vehicle. The 2400 volt system could not handle it. And the 7200 volt system had no issue whatsoever. So that's something that I am taking into consideration. We are going heavy with the transformer changeouts for our system, because that's going to be the big ticket item that needs to be replaced, is going to do a voltage. All of our wire minus, we have only 3 more sections of our town that need to be converted from 3 kV open concentric cable to 15 kV jacketed cable. Outside of that, our wire size, our wire capacity will be set for 7200 volts. It's just going to be the transformers, and then our arresters will have to be changed out. We have arresters that are 3 kV, meaning if you get struck by lightning, it allows a 3 kV system to go through, but anything above 3 kV gets dissipated into the ground. When we changed that 7200 volt system, obviously we're running 7200 volts, the 3 kV arresters won't allow that, they'll blow. So we'll have to change out all the arresters. I talked to the engineers, forester engineer. He says if our cable is sized to 15 kV, we can safely start changing some of our arresters out to those 8 kV arresters. But he said he wouldn't do it long term. So I'm kind of holding off on the arresters right now, because I don't want to put any stress on the cable that's not necessary. But the big push is going to be transformer changeouts and doing an audit on our system to make sure that we didn't miss anything that was on the map that's not 15 kV rated cable. So that's kind of going to be the mindset going forward, is making sure that we're going to be ready to convert when the time is to convert. I don't know how long it's going to be. Again, we're Juneau, we're rural. Is EV vehicles going to take off?
Sounds expensive.
It is expensive. You know, when I first started here, our budget for transformer was $50,000. We're still light on transformers, and the budget for this last year was $104,000. To have all the transformers changed, let's say 5 years, I mean, we're gonna have to probably be up in that budget to $400,000 a year. And that's what, when we had some grant virtual meetings, I was discussing with us small utilities, you know, $1 million would go a long ways for us as far as transformer changeouts, but they don't want to give out $1 million grant. They want to give out a $1 billion grant to Madison or Milwaukee. They don't want to give these $1 million grants. So we're trying to work with WPPI and MUW for multiple utilities to go in for $1 million grants to make up a big grant, but there really hasn't been any traction with that right now. So I think we got a good plan going forward with what we used to do only 20 transformers. We're bumping it up to 40. We have 936 total transformers on the system. And I think we're about 25% doable with the transformers right now. But a lot of those aren't the three-phase transformers, and that's where it's gonna add up fast. Because a three-phase transformer, we're talking 500 to our largest, which is a 2,000 kVA transformer. 2,000 kVA transformer costs about $100,000, So the single-phase transformers will be able to catch up, which is gonna be my main focus, is getting the single phase. And Forrester's gonna have a meeting with me this summer to kind of come up with a scheme of how we are gonna do our replacements. Like right now, we do 20 to 30 year life expectancy on those transformers, depending on what size they are. So when those transformers have been hit in 20 years, we've been replacing them all. Well, that might change now where we focus on, we're gonna do the north substation. Anything that's the 4 feeders that are coming off this north substation, those are the transformers we're gonna focus on first, because we can do a slow conversion where the north substation is just converted to 7,200 volts, and then you have these step up, step down transformers in those middle points of those feeders. So you can have a 2,400 volt system coming up to the step up, and then it's converted to 7,200, and it works both ways. So that's going to be, Columbus is going to be done with their conversion in the next 2 years. I've talked to them already that they're going to sell us their step down, step up transformers at a really affordable cost. They usually are expensive, but so that's the plan, is to buy those and then start doing a substation at a time. But I think if we have everything converted in 10 years, we'll be safe. So, but who knows? Something might happen where they develop some new vehicle system where EV vehicles start to die off. Because, quite frankly, our whole system, not just Juneau, the whole United States transmission and all its distribution systems are not ready for it. So we're all in the same boat. It's not like it's just Juneau that's going to struggle here. We're sitting good. I don't mean to say this that we're in rough shape. We're not in rough shape, but we're just trying to be proactive in this. But the expo went good. Nick attended his 3rd week of an apprenticeship school in Green Bay. So he'll have one more week and he'll have his first year completed. Time does go by fast. Like Lori said, we rectified our electric inventory in preparation for the audit and closeouts. The electric is sitting good as far as that. We just got that all squared away. We installed a new underground service at 587 East Highland Street. That's over by the Goose Park. We're doing prep work for the upcoming spring jobs. One of those is the street lighting. This year we budgeted $18,000 for street light conversions. That's going to be 104 fixtures that we're going to do this year. It's going to complete West Street, North Depot Street, East Center Street, North Highland Street, South Street, West North Street, Fairfield Street, Mayfair, Ridge Road, West Cross, Mill Street, Harbor Drive, and East Oak with that road project. We're going to do that conversion as the road projects go on. And those are the shoebox fixtures, so those are the main road fixtures. That's not the round ornamental style fixtures. After this year, there's only going to be 46 remaining shoebox style fixtures, and then we'll start combining those with the ornamental style, and those will be retrofit, meaning it's going to be the same fixtures. We're going to rewire the fixture to take an LED bulb, and the reason we do that is because those round fixtures cost $425 a piece, and you can buy an LED bulb for about $36. Where these shoebox style fixtures, you can't use those bulbs because it doesn't give off the same lighting. And the fixtures that are on these main drains that we're talking about, those are only $120 versus $400. So we're prepping for that. We're also been looking closely at Sunset View. I know I talked to Dave and Dan, and it sounds like you guys talked to Dodge County Housing and got that ditch better than what it was. So we're thankful for that because that ditch was going to be an issue for insulation for electric. We did still have to buy different transformer pads because of the steep grades in the back lots, and also you're still looking at a 3-foot ditch there, and where there's not much room for the utilities to go there, so we had to go with 3-foot deep transformer pads.
Well, 3 foot is at the deepest end, and it tapers off.
Right, but even on the back hillside with how steep that grade is, I would be level on the back side of that pad and almost be daylighted on the front side of the pad with how steep that is.
You're talking on the east side?
On the east side, and I'm buying them just because 3 foot deepest, but we're gonna go standard with all the rest of them up there and be done with it, so.
I think what's depressing about that whole thing is, and I never caught it on the initial plans, and maybe Dave, you can add to it. When we reviewed it at Planning Commission, there was never any talk about walkout basements on the west side of their buildings there.
Up on the hill?
No, I'm talking about down by the school, facing the school. You know, if they would have kept the grade down, there wouldn't have been any ditch there at all. I mean, you're actually going up to the houses just to accommodate the walkout basements. If they would have kept that a decent grade and didn't have any, you know, first of all, they weren't gonna have full basements in half of them down in that area. Then they went back to full basements. Now they got walkouts on them, which I don't think was part of the original presentation at all to our plan commission. But, you know, they throw you a roll of plans that's 100 pages thick, and you know, all the details are all over that map and whatever, and there seem to be scarce on pictorials, you know, elevation shots of the back of the buildings or anything like that. They showed us the front of the buildings. We knew that the buildings on the east side were backed into the hill, so you could walk out on grade on the second floor. The lower half was garages and basement area, but you actually had to go up steps to get there. But I don't ever remember seeing anything on those plans that showed that we had walkout basements facing high school at all. You know, if they'd have kept them in the ground, kept them terraced, you wouldn't have had an issue there at all.
No. Well, and I did the same thing. I looked at the plans and I thought those grades were the proposed grades. I didn't know that was the existing grades that were in place. I don't know why they would have a new construction map with the existing grades attached to it.
Something wrong there. Something got changed along the way.
So anyways, that plan, will appreciate you guys pushing that and getting that taken care of.
Yeah, I don't even think they're now, with what they're planning on doing, they're actually running a ledge before the
Right.
V of the
it
ditch
goes,
starts,
tapers
and
back up.
3 foot is at the deepest end, and it tapers down to, you'll have no ditch by the time you get to the south end there, so.
I was just nervous with how much, I mean, there's not much room from the sidewalk to that back walkout basement, you know, so.
I was shocked to see that they were walkout basements.
Where the proposed electric is on the east side of that ditch, well, that's where that starts to taper up. That's not where that flat part is along the sidewalk. Then you get your 3 foot ditch, and then it tapers up to that porch. Well, our electric's supposed to go in that taper portion. So that might be changed too. We'll assess it and we'll make it work. I also squared up with Charter. We agreed on joint trenching with them. We're gonna do the installation, we're gonna charge. We agreed to the Hartford terms. Hartford has trenching, so it's not like we're losing money, we'll be making some money on it. Where they're digging the trench, so we might as well put theirs in and make sure it's right, and we're not fighting each other and hitting each other's pipes, so we'll be doing that work as well. I'll be applying for our MUW safety award that we annually do We've gotten gold quite years in a row, so we'll be submitting that as well. And last thing I got is, do we have any updates on the streetlights? Have you guys selected one?
No.
Okay. So as soon as you guys find out, I guess just let me know and so I can get those ordered. Other than that, that's all I got. Oh, and then orientation at WPPI is June 19th. I'm registering Bart Coons and also Nick Cook. So if there's anybody else that has June 19th that wants to go to WPPI in Sun Prairie and get their orientation speech, and also they do a meal and they show the SCADA room for how the ATC MISO grid works. So it's good to see if you've never seen it before. So if anybody's interested, just let me know and I'll get you registered. That's all I got. I take that back. February 12th, National Theater for Children. Juneau Utilities Electric sponsors it every year. It's a little theater show at Dodgeland that it's about usually energy, being energy efficient, turning off your TVs, things like that. It's a fun, interactive theater that the National Theater comes and does for the children. So that'll be February 12th at Dodgeland. Both St. John's will be attending as well. Now I'm done. Closing
You sure?
Closing it.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Nick? Okay. Alex?
We'll start with the proposal to change city ordinances about the abandonment services. We all got flyer for the new packet. That is basically the same as you saw it previously, just with the green light from our attorney. We want to choose to push that through.
Anybody have any questions on it or concerns?
I think I would change the wording of 308, 120 to existing use of old building, use of existing building water laterals. It's old building doesn't just sound too
Right.
good.
That's, I guess, just the language that
Use-
was used previously.
Yeah, use of existing building water and sewer laterals, I think it should be changed.
Now, when you say reuse,
Use of existing building water.
Scratch old, put existing wherever you have old.
Yeah, change old to existing.
Right.
But you want it above for one, right? That's the change.
You see they did in the other part.
So that's 3 spots.
3 spot.
1, 2, and 4.
And the heading.
It's just, it's for over the existing.
Did you catch that, Lori?
Yes, sir.
So that would be the only change we would add in that. Somebody want to make a motion to that effect and approve that, so we send it to council? Motion by Ross, second by Dave to change old to existing and send to council.
Okay.
Is there any other changes? If not, all in favor of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
At the beginning of this month, both Liz and Nicholas each spent a day in the skid steer cleaning snow away from fire hydrants. We were hoping that there may be more winter yet this year, but it turns out that wasn't the case.
We got some experience there.
Yeah, Nicholas definitely needed time to, well, they both needed time to learn how to operate it, so it's good for them. We will be sending a flyer out to customers with the next bill. Just trying to get a couple more people to complete our chlorine survey, just trying to keep that going. I received and signed the proposals from MSA for the flushing program and GIS finally. Took them a while to get it all written up, so it should all be done by April, so. Yeah, we're getting started on that. We are getting a tablet set up to help use with the GIS software that we're having written, and then we're also working to set it up to use for our daily record keeping at the wells, so that less time is spent doing data input after the fact. We're kind of trying to move more digital and see how that goes. Otherwise, throughout the month, we've been working on small projects at the well houses, removing old equipment that's no longer useful, and making minor plumbing updates as we go. We replaced the air release valves at wells 1 and 2 to try and help the filters run more effectively in the way that they are designed to be ran. I don't know that having air in the filters could have affected the chlorine noticeably or not, but it certainly doesn't hurt to be working the way it's supposed to. We had a service leak at 510 Home Road. There was a crack all the way around their 3-inch ductile iron service. We helped the homeowner, or the property owner, set up for a contractor to complete the repair, and sold them the parts needed to complete the fix. I have yet to figure out what the water loss was from that event, but I will get on that. Northern Pipe started jetting and televising sewers, as most of you probably noticed. So far, they haven't found any major areas of concern. They plan to be done by the end of this week. I also met with CBS Squared, who was the engineering firm who did our corrosion control report study for the lead and copper sampling that we had done. And in order to stay in compliance, we'll have to do 2 different rounds of lead and copper sampling. Autumn of this year, and then one 6 months later. So as soon as the Oak Street project is done and we have the last of our lead out, I can complete the first round of testing. So that's 20 samples, So I'll have to have 25 or 30 homes pre-approved through the DNR to complete each of these rounds of sampling. So it's quite a few houses.
That'd be hard.
Yeah. The only advantage now is that if we don't have people that, if it doesn't have to be lead now, I basically, the only requirement is that it's a house that's older than 1983 that doesn't have a water softener. So I gotta find 30 of those. I think we should be able to find a few. It's just whether or not we can find homeowners that are willing to work with us with the timing that it takes to let the water get stagnant and sit. And this morning, around 8:30 a.m. today, Staub hit our air line going to the wastewater plants and broke it. So we quickly set up our air compressor. We had Steve Pett drop off 2 of the highway shops air compressors, and that was our plan. And we got the plants back up and running within an hour, and then by probably 1 or 2 p.m., Staub was able to chop out that piece of pipe that they had broken and couple in a new stick of pipe in its place. So we were back up and running at full operation by the end of the day.
What kind of pipe?
It was the new pipe or what they broke.
Yeah, what was it?
So I guess I'm not the most familiar with the difference between ductile iron and regular iron.
Oh, okay.
It's one of them.
Yeah, it's cast iron.
Right. One of the two. I guess I got pictures I can show you, but where they broke it, it was corroded down to less than 1/8 of an inch thick.
Well, that's leaking, right?
It was
Determined,
leaking.
right?
And they had crossed it earlier in the yard, and where they crossed it at first, the pipe was solid, so they thought, all this air leaking's got to be just at the joints where the gaskets failed. Well, as they got into the driveway and they crossed it again, they were scraping along the pipe and poked a little bit of that corrosion, and it just peeled it right open. So they get, a little careless because one spot was good while the other spot was not. So we spent all day today trying to keep our wastewater plant from dying. But hopefully they've learned now, and now we know what we're capable of in regards to keeping it running. So
I mean, to their defense, all else you do it though, you gotta.
no, that's the only drawback was that the line that they're digging to place did not need to go the path that they put it, and they followed the airline path directly. Like, you guys could have just done this a little differently and avoided it completely, but I'm not that smart. I'm just the owner. So, well, we learned that if we have to run the wastewater plant completely void of the wastewater blower, we should be capable of it with 4 construction air compressors.
That's cost effective.
Well, that's a lot of diesel, that's for sure.
So did we avoid a discharge down the
I
creek?
believe so, yeah. Yeah, so,
They are eating those costs.
yeah, we'll give them a
That they'll just make up some other way.
Well,
That's
that's
exactly it.
yeah.
Get you in the back door.
Yeah. And then all I have left was, as most of you probably already saw, and I sort of talked about, was that we were notified that our wastewater department is receiving the award for Facility of the Year. We were nominated for this award by our DNR representative, who complimented us, saying that our commitment to getting things right with the plant, including maintaining a high-quality effluent, excellent housekeeping and documentation, all the while preparing for a major facility upgrade, was what she was very impressed to see. So that is all I have to say for today.
Kudos to you and crew.
Gotta get one for the waterworks award.
Well, and here, take a drink of our water. That would be lovely.
Just backing up the old Habercorn farm up there, we have a 3-inch shut off in there. And is that something that it's our responsibility or is that his?
We are responsible for it up to customer shut off.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the multifamily across the road.
Oh, I thought it was the farm that did.
No.
No,
Okay.
that was 2 years ago that they had the break.
Yeah.
We weren't responsible for that.
That was in the street 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah. I think you were talking about
Well,
the.
this is the motel.
Yeah, the break was probably 5 feet from the foundation of the building.
So it said mild winter. Foundations
Yeah.
I was just wondering about, you're talking about water loss and everything like that too, that Habercorn farm had a series of water services all tied off of a 3 or 4 inch lead that
That's
went in
3
there.
inch.
I'm wondering how much of that stuff is, is leaking and what have you. We don't have much control. He's got his own little distribution system with a house and a milk house and then several other outbuildings that used to take water. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the other thing is he's got 2 meters in a pit halfway through his property.
Yeah.
But that's, who knows if it's leaking in his yard before then.
The pit's full of water.
Well,
Because I've been in that before.
I have two, yeah.
I guess the potable water's hooked ahead of that, so the potable water going in the house, Yeah, that's a,
Does any other communities put like flow meters at different portions of the top? I suppose would have to reconstruct manholes.
like recording meters or?
Yeah, where you could kind of see where it's going. Yeah, you got your meter usages for.
Well, the worst part is it's not as much for the water department as it's
The sewer. Yeah, when you're talking a fifth of your water or treatment cost is unaccounted for, not billed.
Yeah, and that's why I wanna take some time and dive into that sensient metering, because being that they have their own wells, it'd be the quickest way to see sewer than that water.
Yeah, like Dave said earlier, there's not too much sanitary sewer we have left to replace, but through televising, you're already finding that some of the stuff that has been replaced has got stress fractures and what have you there too, where the laterals are tied into the main.
Well, does anybody have any questions for Alex before? All right. Since you stole my thunder and took your own, patted yourself on the back. I congratulated you before, but that goes to the whole team out there, for doing it.
We're fortunate, everybody's working well together. And
That's the key, everybody's working together. So, otherwise, I have nothing else. Mr. Mayor,
Nothing for me.
February 29th.
February 29th, we have a WPPI Board of Directors meeting. Just a bond draw. WPPI is gonna save some money.
If there's anything, Alex, that for that award that's being presented before the next council meeting next week.
well, the presentation is the 15th.
Okay. We'll make
They
sure
would-
that we've got it at the
They would
council
like,
table.
they would like somebody to attend in Waukesha.
It's Fond du Lac.
Fond du Lac? They said Waukesha.
Yeah,
Did they?
I thought it said Waukesha.
It said Waukesha.
Pretty sure it is.
I will have to look at that, but I'm certain it was Fond du Lac. We'll double check.
I'll try to get some press out of it, try to get a couple pictures or something like that if you're gonna be accepting an award.
Yeah. As of right now,
I'll go to
maybe-
Fond du Lac.
Our
You
press
go to
coverage is very minimal in our community right now.
Yeah, we can use some good press for a
Sure.
change.
Right.
Planning on Peggy and I to go to see this.
All right, so there's no old, we have nothing, so is there any old business? Any new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Dick, second by Dave to adjourn. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.